Buenas y bienvenidos a todos a Juan Carlos ESL. Yo soy el maestro Juan Carlos Villao. Bienvenidos a lección número 5 de Newcomers. En esta lección vamos a estar repasando fechas y meses y días feriados. Welcome everyone. I'm Juan Carlos Villao and welcome to Juan Carlos ESL and Newcomers lesson number 5, days and calendar. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So just bear with me while I set up and get ready for lesson number 5. All right, perfect. So you should be able to see my screen. And we are in lesson number 5 of Unit 1. So this is the last lesson of Unit 1, getting started. So what that means, I am going to bundle all 5 lessons of Unit 1 so you can obtain it in one package, in one bundle. So we're going to see that. And you're going to be able to obtain it in Teachers Pay Teachers. You're more than welcome to obtain it. Check it out in my store of Teachers Pay Teachers. Store is Juan Carlos ESL. Also invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Juan Carlos ESL. So you're more than welcome to check out those videos that I've produced for you as well. Entonces, los invito a que se suscriban a mi canal de YouTube, si ya no lo han hecho, para que también vean lecciones que ya he grabado anteriormente y las clases que vienen después de esta. Entonces, todos están bienvenidos. Okay, let's go ahead and begin lesson 5, days and calendar. So this is exclusively for ESL newcomers, and this is lesson 5 of Unit 1, getting started. Entonces, exclusivamente para recién llegados a los Estados Unidos. Bienvenidos a los Estados Unidos. Estamos en lección número 5, días y el calendario. So, lesson objectives. So, when I taught this in the classroom, I will usually ask a student to read out loud for the classroom. I will also support him or her to read it out loud. Teachers, I invite you to do the same, to choose a student from your class and have him or her read it out loud. Obviously, you will support them, let them go at their own pace. You can read out loud and have the student follow after you, or you could have the whole class read it out loud after you have read it and have them repeat after you. So you could do a variety of methods. The important thing is that all students understand what the objectives are from the very beginning. Lo importante al comienzo de una clase es que todos los estudiantes entiendan qué es el objetivo de cada lección. Entonces, aquí vamos a leer en voz alta y espero que ustedes me sigan. So let's begin from the very beginning. Lesson objectives. English as a second language. Abbreviation is ESL. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, English language learners should have been able to identify and say the 7 days of the week, the 12 months of the year, and 12 holidays recognized in the United States. English language learners should also be able to ask and answer information questions using what and when. So the language domain skills English language learners will be using and applying this lesson are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Entonces, el objetivo de esta clase es básicamente que todos deben entender y identificar los 7 días de la semana en inglés, obviamente, los 12 meses del año y 12 días feriados reconocidos aquí en los Estados Unidos. También parte de esta lección, el objetivo de esta lección también incluye poder preguntar y responder preguntas de información usando qué y cuándo. What and when. What es qué y when es cuándo. En inglés es what and when. And then las habilidades del lenguaje que deben estar aplicando en esta lección es escuchando, hablando, leyendo y escribiendo. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. All right, so that is our objective. Keep that in mind as we move forward in this lesson. Mantenga estos objetivos en su mente mientras seguimos adelante en esta lección. So our objective is learn the 7 days of the week, the 12 months of the year, and 12 specific holidays recognized in the United States. And be ready to answer and ask questions using what and when. Entonces, los 7 días de la semana, los 12 meses del año y 12 días feriados y preguntas de qué y cuándo. All right, so we're going to first do a previous lesson review, just like we did last time. We'll go over some lessons that we went over in the previous lessons to finalize Unit 1. Then we'll get into the warm-up, followed by vocabulary, which is basically the days of the week, months of the year, holidays, and then the guided practice, and followed by independent practice. So then we'll finalize the lesson with exit ticket and a 20-question quiz, which I will share with you at the end. All right, so let's get started. Entonces les voy a compartir esto, básicamente los componentes de la lección. Vamos a repasar las lecciones, un calentamiento, vocabulario, práctica de guianza, práctica de independiente, un boleto de salida y también la prueba de 20 preguntas. So it will take approximately, the review and warm-up will take approximately 20 minutes or so. Vocabulary, 10 minutes. Guided practice, another 20 minutes. Independent practice, students will work alone independently. That's why it's called independent practice. To invest approximately 20 minutes or so. If they need more time, obviously you want to extend that time for them so they can complete it. And then, of course, the exit ticket and quiz, which will be another 20 minutes or so. So again, this is an estimation. It's not guaranteed. This is not a promise. This is just an estimation on how long it may take the lesson to be delivered. Obviously, teachers, you know your students, how much time they will need to invest in each particular component of the lesson and how much time you have. If you need to extend to the next day of the class, that's totally up to you. That's fine. We could do that. I strongly encourage you to do that. So it's totally up to you. And the important thing is you're meeting your students' learning needs. All right, so let's move on. So let's review the English alphabet. Vamos a repasar el abecedario en el lenguaje de inglés. So just follow along. A, B, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. All right, so that's the English alphabet. That was basically a review. Solo era un repaso, ya lo hemos enseñado en las lecciones anteriores. All right, let's also review the vowels. Let's all repeat. A, E, E, I, O, U. We're also going to go over the numbers. We went over the numbers and also as well, but it does not hurt to go over it again. The important thing is that we learn the pronunciation and how to spell numbers in the English language. So let's begin with the numbers in English. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000. Okay, those are the numbers in English. Esos son los números en inglés. Obviamente no son todos, pero un repaso de las clases anteriores que ya hemos visto. All right, so now that we've completed our review, we're going to get into the warm-up. Vamos ahora a comenzar y entrar al calentamiento. Instructions for the warm-up: you are going to activate prior knowledge to identify news, days, and dates in English. Va a activar su conocimiento para poder identificar y usar días y fechas en inglés. So let's start with number 1. So what day is it today? So at the time of this recording, obviously, you're not going to have the same day as I have today, but today is Monday. So we're going to put, so before I give out the answers, just want to make sure that you review these questions carefully, understand the question before you answer them. It's very critical that you understand the question before you answer them. Antes de que yo comparte las respuestas, quiero que sepan, importante que entiendan la pregunta antes que la conteste. No salte a conclusiones, que es la respuesta, ni siquiera ha leído la pregunta completamente. Entonces, asegure que entiende la pregunta antes de contestar a la pregunta. All right, so let's read the 4 questions first, and then we'll go over the answers specifically. So, what day is it today? ¿Qué día es hoy? Number 2, what month is it? What month is it? ¿Qué mes es? ¿Qué mes es? Number 3, when is your birthday? When is your birthday? Número 3, ¿cuándo es su cumpleaños? ¿Cuándo es su cumpleaños? And then number 4, what holiday do you like? What holiday do you like? ¿Qué día feriado a usted le gusta? ¿Qué día feriado a usted le gusta? Another thing I want to point out about these questions, notice that these questions start with what or when. What or when. So remember the objective. We have to learn how to answer and respond to questions using what and when. Si se acuerda el objetivo de esta lección, vamos a aprender cómo contestar preguntas con qué en inglés es what o cuándo en inglés es when. Entonces, that's part of the objective which we're applying in this warm-up at this time. All right, so take that into account. Let's answer number 1. So what day is it today? Entonces, ¿qué día es hoy? So you could say today is, as a sentence frame. You could provide a sentence frame for students. You also find a warm-up exercise in my Teachers Pay Teachers store that you could obtain to share with your students in this class. So students will be able to answer the question by filling in the space and the fill in the blank. So this is basically a fill in the blank warm-up exercise. What day is it today? Today is Monday. ¿Qué día es hoy? Hoy día es lunes. Today is Monday. You can see this is the calendar of November 2025. Obviously, you may not be seeing it at the time. All right, what month is it? So what month is it? So the month is November. The month is November. So obviously the month will vary. It's not going to be November every month. So at the time, you could put just put the month that corresponds at the time you're delivering this lesson. So what month is it? The month is November. And then number 3, when is your birthday? When is your birthday? So obviously all students, all learners will have a different birthday. Not all students will have the same birthday. Every individual will have their own corresponding birthday. So this is just an example. That means that answers will vary. Same thing with number 2 that we saw regarding the month. It's not going to be November every month, so answers will vary for number 2 and number 3, depending on who's delivering the class, who's receiving the class, and on what day and month you're receiving the class. So my birthday is on January 3rd. That's just an example. My birthday is on January 3rd. One note about how to answer this question is regarding if you're saying the full date or just mentioning the month of your birthday. Un detalle que quiero tomar en cuenta es si usted está diciendo la fecha completa de su cumpleaños o solamente el mes. Porque la pregunta está diciendo cuándo es su cumpleaños. When is your birthday? My birthday is on January 3rd. Notice I'm using on to mention the date on January 3rd. Or compare that to just using in. My birthday is in January if you just want to mention the month. So you use on for the date or in if you want to just mention the month. Okay, my birthday is in January. So it's an important note to take into account. If you say dates, you want to use on. If you just mention the month, you want to say in. Because then it could be any day in January or any day of that particular month. Entonces, un detalle que quiero tomar en cuenta es si utiliza la fecha completa como su respuesta, tiene que usar el término on. Mi cumpleaños es en el 3 de enero. O comparando, mi cumpleaños es en enero. En español no aplica, pero en inglés sí se toma en cuenta. On January 3rd, in January. So if you use a full month, you use in. If you use a date, on. So take that into account when you give responses. Okay. All right. So that's number 3. And finally, number 4. What holiday do you like? What holiday do you like? ¿Qué día feriado a usted le gusta? So again, your answer will vary. Not everyone has a different interest or favorite holiday. That's fine. That's totally up to you what holiday you like. So this is just an example. I like Independence Day. I like Independence Day. A mí me gusta Día de Independencia. A mí me gusta Día de Independencia. I like Independence Day. So again, that answer will vary. Totally up to you. As long as it's one of the 12 recognized holidays here in the United States, your answer will be fine. Okay. Okay. Entonces es número 4. So that's the warm-up. Okay. So regarding answering questions with what and when, and also taking into account dates and holidays. Just like we discussed in the objectives, we're taking that into account now in the warm-up, introducing a couple of vocabulary words as well. Now, talking about vocabulary, we're now entering the vocabulary segment of the lesson. I'm going to start with days of the week. Vamos a comenzar con el segmento de vocabulario de la lección, iniciando con días de la semana. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to read each day of the week 2 times. Sunday. Sunday es domingo. Monday. Monday. Lunes. Tuesday. Tuesday. Martes. Wednesday. Wednesday. Miércoles. Thursday. Thursday. Jueves. Friday. Friday. Viernes. Saturday. Saturday. Sábado. All right, so a couple of things I want to point out. This lesson is designed exclusively for Spanish-speaking students who are learning English as a new language. And as Spanish speakers, in Spanish, the days of the week are not capitalized. As you see in this example, on this slide, notice it's the days of the week in Spanish begin with a lowercase letter. But in English, important to take into account that it does begin with a capital letter. Sunday with a capital S, Monday with a capital M, Tuesday with a capital T, Wednesday with a capital W, Thursday with a capital T, Friday with a capital F, and Saturday with a capital S. Entonces, tome en cuenta que en inglés los días de semana comienzan con una letra mayúscula. En español, usted, como ya saben, los días de semana no son con letras minúsculas. Pero en inglés sí se toma en cuenta y sí siempre debe comenzar con una letra mayúscula. Así como vemos que cada día de semana comienza con una letra mayúscula. Entonces, tomen eso en cuenta. All right, that's a critical note I wanted to mention. Another thing I want to take into account regarding this lesson is all my lessons are aligned to WIDA. This is exclusively indicating that these are the WIDA standards and indicators. So teachers is aligned to the WIDA standards and indicators to help prepare students take and pass the WIDA tests. Absolutely. All right. So those are the days of the week. Now let's move on to the months of the year. All right, so again, let's read each month 2 times. January, January. Enero, February, February. Febrero, March, March. Marzo, April, April. Abril. May, May. Mayo, June, June. Junio. Okay, so these are 6 days. We're going to go same thing in English. Months, just like the days of the week, the months of the year also begin with a capital letter. In Spanish, notice that they start with a lowercase letter, just like the days of the week. So, también los meses del año comienza con una letra mayúscula, aunque en español comience con una letra minúscula. Tomen en cuenta que los meses también comienzan con una letra mayúscula, así como los días de semana. All right, let's move on to the next 6 months. July, July. Julio, August, August. Agosto, September, September. Septiembre, October, October. Octubre, November, November. Noviembre, December, December. Diciembre. Okay, so those are the months of the year. Now let's get into holidays in the United States, which is also part of our objective. We said that we wanted to recognize 12 holidays in the United States. We're going to go over that now. And also on the left-hand side of this column, or the two T-chart, you have on the left-hand side, you have the holidays, and on the right-hand side, you have the date when that holiday takes place. So, for example, New Year's Day, let's all repeat 2 times. New Year's Day. New Year's Day. That's January 1st. January 1st. Remember, we learned ordinal numbers in a previous lesson, so we're applying it now in this lesson. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The abbreviation is MLK. MLK Day. MLK Day. So Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is usually the third Monday in January. The third Monday in January. El tercer lunes en enero. President's Day. President's Day. Third Monday in February. Third Monday in February. El Día de los Presidentes, el tercer lunes en febrero. Before I go on, for those of you who do not know Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he was a civil rights activist, and he was honored with a holiday by President Ronald Reagan in the 1980s. So that holiday has been recognized since the 1980s. So Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a civil rights leader. So you'll see more of that in social studies and on history as well. All right, just wanted to point that out for those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. All right, moving on to Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. February 14th. February 14th. Día de los Enamorados o los Novios, o el 14 de febrero, Día de Valentinos. So February 14th. It's not technically a holiday, but it is recognized. It's celebrated, but it's not technically a holiday per se regarding having a day off. But it is very popular here in the United States. So I just wanted to mention that. All right, Easter. Easter, April 5th to 12th. The date can vary regarding Easter, but it's usually April 5th to 12th. Memorial Day. Memorial Day, the last Monday in May. Last Monday in May. Día de Memoria es el último lunes en mayo. Y Easter es básicamente Pascua, que es usualmente entre el 5 y 12 de abril. Pascua. Easter. Pascua. All right, so let's move on to the next holidays. Juneteenth. Juneteenth. June 19th. June 19th. So that's when slavery was, it's a holiday that recognizes when slavery was abolished. So Juneteenth is being recognized as a holiday. It's a new holiday, the most recent holiday that became official under President Joe Biden's administration. So it's the most recent holiday established here in the United States. Juneteenth, June 19th. Independence Day. Independence Day, July 4th. July 4th. Entonces, Día de Independencia aquí en los Estados Unidos, el 4 de julio. July 4th. Labor Day. Labor Day. First Monday in September. Veterans Day. Veterans Day, November 11th. Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving Day, last Thursday in November. Last Thursday in November is when we celebrate Thanksgiving Day here in the United States. And then Christmas Day, Christmas Day, December 25th. December 25th. All right, so those are holidays that are recognized here in the United States. All right, you'll be able to see exercise. And if you go to my Teachers Pay Teacher store, you'll see a vocabulary drill using these same vocabulary words, the days of the week, months of the year, and holidays in the United States for you to review and to practice writing these holidays and dates. All right, let's just do one more review of all days and calendar that we went over. So let's all continue. Sunday, Sunday, Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, Saturday, Saturday, January, January, February, February, March, March, April, April, May, May, June, June, July, July, August, August, September, September, October, October, November, November, December, December, New Year's Day, New Year's Day, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, President's Day, Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day, Easter, Easter, Memorial Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth Day, Juneteenth Day, Independence Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, Christmas Day. All right. So those are our vocabulary words for this lesson. Days of the week, months of the year, and holidays recognized in the United States. Now let's move into the guided practice. This is the grammar focus of the lesson, information questions using what